Welcome to the Spare Parts Racing Podcast, your podcast for all things motorsports. With your hosts, Sean Chavarella, Stephen Clary, and Taylor Moore.
Hear that music?
Hello and welcome to another episode of Spare Parts. I'm your host, Sean.
I'm Steven.
And I'm Taylor.
And this week, there isn't honestly a whole lot of motorsports related stuff to talk about. So we thought we'd have some fun. And we're going to be drinking. We're drinking this episode because...
Woohoo!
It's the Blue Jays home opener.
Let's
No,
not talk
because
about
we're all
that.
bored.
Yeah, so we'll be starting with talking about the Bristol Dirt race. We'll also be giving an update of how our racing fantasy teams are going. And we'll see where else the night takes us. So join us as we talk. And friends, how was your Easter? How was your Easter weekend?
Fantastic.
Oh, it was fantabulous. I got drunk as a skunk.
I got a big thing of chocolate here. Well, big. It's smaller now.
I ate all mine already, so
I have self-control at times.
I don't.
I have my little gnome basket.
I have
It very
so many
much
questions.
fits my vibe. So it's a little gnome. He's filled with like eggs. And Peter's mom is British, so she always gets like the good English chocolate from the store. So we all got one of those and did an egg hunt, which was totally unfair because Peter and I got there late, and his brother Jack was like scoping out all of the hiding places. So,
Well, whose fault is it that you were
nothing.
late?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay, excuse me. Jesus rose again, so we were attending church.
Yeah, what if you were late for Jesus coming out? You could show up and say, hey, where'd he go? Punctuality. That's the number one thing of Easter. You don't want to miss the part, right? That's the whole thing? That's the lesson
I
there,
guess.
I think.
I don't,
Sure.
Okay, sure. We'll go with that.
Go with that.
We'll go with that. Anyway, it was good.
There was golf this weekend.
How was
right?
yours?
Good.
It was golf.
Oh, yes. Oh,
and it
I'm
is
so
warm enough
happy
that we can golf.
Yes,
John,
we-
we are golfing
Yes.
some point.
Steven, did you book a time yet?
I am working on it.
Okay, so that's a no.
So, did y'all watch the Masters this weekend?
Obviously.
Yes. Duh.
It was so
Okay,
it was so disappointing
Why was it disappointing?
because it was just guys not wanting to win.
What?
Yeah. I said it.
What do you mean it was just guys not wanting to win?
Basically,
Can you please elaborate what you mean by that?
So it rained out on Saturday.
Yes.
So they finished round 3 on Sunday morning. And
Right.
there's a bunch of guys that went on a run late to get into the top 5. Full transparency, I am a little bit salty about this because one of those guys was one of my pinata picks that we do through one of our sites. And basically, if he had won, I would have won $140. So
Oh, so did you choose Kepka?
no, you don't. That's the fun part. You don't get to pick. You just get a guy.
It's a
Oh,
lottery
I see.
ticket.
Okay.
It's a pinata.
Oh,
You hit the
okay.
pinata, you get a golfer. It could be Brooks Koepka at 70-1, or it could be one of the amateurs that I also got for 70-1.
Oh, Sam Bennett?
Nope.
No, not Sam Bennett.
Oh, who?
One of the I don't remember. He was out on Friday. So.
Oh, sad.
Anywho, we had a fun setup, and the payoff was just not there because it wasn't even like because the conditions were tough. No one was doing well, and it was a battle of attrition because like guys like Mickelson did well. Who
Which
else was climbing the
why?
leaderboard?
Speed at the end.
I remember Spieth was climbing the leaderboard, so it wasn't like you couldn't score well. It was just the fact that you couldn't like. There were guys scoring well, and all the leaders were just like not having it.
Well, all I'm going to say is I was very, very happy that Rom won at the end of it all because I was going to be very salty if a Live Tour player won. So,
I like
all
John
in all,
Rahm. He's
very
a
happy.
very cool guy.
Yeah, he's nice.
Yeah, I didn't have a lot to contribute to that conversation, so I ate a chocolate. And yeah, I agree with Taylor, though.
Shocker.
I was just happy that...
No,
I was happy it wasn't Koepka.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that was
I
the.
texted you that,
that
Steven.
guy.
Yep.
Like, halfway through, I'm like, anyone but Kepka right now. That's all I
Yep.
want is anyone but him.
But
Monkey
even
paw curls.
Mickelson
How about
pissed me off.
Mickelson?
No,
Because honestly, it's so annoying. I have so many opinions about like them being allowed to play in the majors. It's like if you're gonna sell out, you shouldn't be allowed to double dip.
yeah,
But
but
whatever.
there's selling out, and there's also realizing you are fucked over by the contract you signed for a
Yeah.
lot of money. So
Well, Koepka also just wasn't good because A, his health, but also he plays like shit and live anyway, so whatever. But he's
He
kind of an
doesn't care.
asshole.
He's made
so.
his money.
I see the cat
He's
hair
made
dangling off this.
however many. Very nice. Well,
It's annoying.
This is not a golf podcast. This is
I
a
know, right?
racing podcast.
I
it
know.
was.
Anyway, so
Let's talk Blue Jays baseball.
fuck off. We're not talking
Ew,
about that
no.
at all in the slightest.
Friends,
No way.
So we had
Anybody
Bristol
watch
this
the
weekend.
Jays?
but not the good kind.
Yes.
Yeah, we had Bristol Dirt, which is an event.
Yeah.
An event. Did you what was interesting to me was just how little of a turnout they had. Like there were so many seats in the stands still open. Like it was maybe half full, if that.
Yeah, that race I don't know what to do with. I don't think NASCAR knows what to do with that race.
No, and therefore I think you just have to kill it at this point.
So Bristol, let's try this again for the third time. Because every time we try to talk about this, my internet's cutting out for some reason.
It's big NASCAR.
Maybe you're onto something. So Bristol hates, or NASCAR hates, criticism of Bristol. So the race itself. Okay. Race took place Easter Sunday, going up against the Masters final. So
Yeah. I feel like just that
and
alone.
it was baseball opening weekend?
No,
Was that last
baseball
weekend?
opening
Oh,
weekend
okay.
was
no,
the
I
weekend
thought it
before.
started.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So that's a lot of competition to have for one
Yeah.
event because I mean the Masters is like an institution.
Yep.
So already you're kind of fighting a losing battle there.
Yeah, and this is the most niche event that NASCAR puts on. Because it's a dirt race, right? So it's
Yep.
Yeah. It's like it's not I wouldn't even say that it's niche. Like it's very much like in your face a gimmick, you know what I mean? Like they're trying to do something special to I don't know, put something different on the calendar and produce a different product, but
the hilarious thing about this
Does it
race,
work?
though, is that this also is one of the cleanest races NASCAR does.
which is weird.
Like, in terms of actual, like, incidents and guys wrecking and stuff, or, like, guys not finishing the race, because it's dirt, because they're not going fast enough, you get a lot of guys who get, banged up, but they just keep on racing.
Yeah.
So, in that regard, it's kind of fun that way.
It's
kind of
derby style.
classic NASCAR.
Yeah, it's derby style racing.
It's Cars 3.
Cars 3 is a great movie.
It's giving Cars 3.
I want you to explain yourself. What do you mean by that?
What do you mean? When Lightning McQueen and oh my gosh, what's her name?
Something Cruise?
Can you believe it? Yes, Cruz.
Sure.
I think it's just Cruz. Is it not just Cruz?
I have no idea. Anyway, you're talking
Anyway,
about how they do
you know who
the figure eight demolition derby part? Yeah.
Yeah, it's serving Cars 3 vibes. It's great.
That's fair. Like, usually you would have cautions in this race, mostly when someone loops it or someone spins it.
Which
But even-
happened a lot.
But even, like, at the end, who was it that spun in the final restart that they didn't throw yellow for? I can't
Don't
who it
remember,
was.
to be honest.
I want to say Hamlin, but I don't know.
No, he was earlier in the day.
Was he?
Was it Blaney? Oh,
Maybe it
I
was
Blaney.
watched the highlights.
Maybe it's Blaney. Anyway.
I know he was mentioned like in the last few minutes of the race.
See, and this is the issue of the race, because realistically, there was not a whole lot of good on track action. Like you saw one of the best moves was like Tyler Reddick where he dove to the inside to get by was it Bell? No.
Yeah.
Was it Bell?
I think so. Are you talking about early in like stage 2?
I thought it was Austin Dillon. Was Dillon? Was Dillon and Bush?
He did the same thing on Austin Dillon late in stage 3.
Okay. But like so it was good for long runs. When you had a long run in this race, there were definitely guys who could figure out how to make it work and how to make speed, and there were guys who did not. Reddick was one of those guys that definitely did well. And this is just another race where I feel overtime kind of ruined this race.
Mm-hmm.
Because you had your 2-lap shootout basically between Reddick and Bell, and neither of them got close to each other. Like I think it was in the broadcast. In the last lap, they set the same lap time. So
not that entertaining.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Go for it.
I swear every single race in the NASCAR season, except for like maybe one, has gone to overtime.
I think you're right.
I could believe it.
So I'm like, what is going on? Because I know we've talked about overtime before, but like to me it just seems so like stupid and annoying.
I'm looking this up.
I feel like it was the last race that they did, I think was fine. Maybe. But I'm pretty sure it's been like almost every single one except for maybe one or two.
A lot of them have gone to overtime. It's just kind of that whole, it's the way it is now in NASCAR, right? You got to finish under that green flag. Yet you don't finish under a green flag because you have a wreck anyway, so yellow comes out.
Is this the new NASCAR gimmick?
Well, it's been the gimmick forever.
Oh, okay. I feel like overtime hasn't, I don't know, we've never really talked about it as much as we have this season.
Yeah.
So it just seems like it's becoming more and more prominent.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. I think Richmond finished under green, like the proper distance. It did 400 laps. So that was the only one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think there's been so many that were not. Because, yeah, this one had overtime. Coda had overtime.
Yep.
Pretty sure Atlanta had overtime. So, a lot of these races have had overtime.
I might actually be right about a NASCAR stat.
I mean, yeah.
Pay attention.
But again, it just goes to show with NASCAR. It's about the spectacle. It's about the show, and it's about putting on entertainment.
Yeah, it's very much like the actual core of like the racing and kind of the sport aspect of it, which I'm sure a lot of people enjoy. It's almost like kind of stripped from it, where you're just producing something solely to gain fans through entertainment.
But here's the whole thing. Like, I agree. Like, NASCAR is really trying to get the entertainment thing, and you can see with this event, it's not working. You don't have, I think, the turnout. You don't have, I think, maybe the same enthusiasm for the event. But I'll be honest. If you're asked, do you keep the Bristol Dirt Race or do you move it? I say you keep it.
Okay, why?
Are you keeping it as a point scoring event or not?
Yes. And you keep it as a point scoring event, and you keep it just for the variety and for the difference of it. For the true spectacle of it, you make it something.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's different. And for
I think
that,
it could
it
be
should stay.
Yeah, I think it could be salvageable in a way of like, if you want to make it truly stand out, then you might have to do a whole like it's bigger and better than everything, like make it a huge deal in your calendar then if you want to have that kind of variety in it, right?
Sell the hell out of it. Like, just be like, hey, NASCAR, we back in the 60s, we used to race on dirt. Guess what we're doing now? Racing on dirt, crazy. Like, you can sell the hell out of this event and really make it to the people like, this is something special. Like, this is not something you see all the time.
Yeah.
Versus like Daytona 500. Okay, we're kind of used to that. We get it. They drive in a pack, but packs now are just 2 lines of cars. Fine, you do that. We've seen short track racing forever. Okay, yeah. They go around. They lap half the field. It's fine. But dirt is different. Dirt is cool. Let's sell dirt. We don't sell dirt.
Mm-hmm.
Now again, could this be because I'm having a beer and I am feeling a little more kind towards the dirt race than I think I did on the weekend? I think I was maybe shit talking it to Steven.
Maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little.
Which is why I'm surprised.
Of the
Probably
sudden,
a lot.
of the sudden turncoat.
A little bit.
I'm Italian. That's what I do.
Yeah, shocker.
There you go. But yeah, I can see there still being a place on the calendar for this race. I don't know. Steven, you disagree, I'm guessing.
A little bit. I will agree that if they're gonna keep it, they should lean into it. Maybe add a second one and diversify a little bit from because there's some tracks we got 2 races, right? Like cut one of them, add a dirt track, race once, except maybe for say the playoff tracks. Those are the special 2 races a year.
But you really can't do it anywhere else. Right?
Okay, or do it
or go to an actual dirt track for it.
Okay, so yes, this is one of the things that was brought up. Go to an actual dirt track. Don't just cover Bristol in dirt.
I mean, that's a good point, though.
It's either add some to make sure so that way it's not like this is just a one-off through the calendar. Like, imagine they had one road course every year, and that was the only time they ever raced on a road course. It'd be sort of stupid, right? Like, pick a direction, lean into it some more, and if in doubt, you can change it back. You can take whatever dirt tracks off of your calendar, take the dirt off of Bristol, and race Bristol proper.
True. Like, remember back in the day with IndyCar, though? IndyCar's selling point was, oh, well, it's the only series that does ovals, road courses, and street courses.
Yep.
Well, NASCAR's doing ovals, road courses, street courses with Chicago, and dirt tracks now.
Yep.
Like, NASCAR, lean into it.
Yeah, but
and
market
the hell out of it.
Yeah, or if you're not going to, you can keep it, make it like your all-star event, get some old late models, and then race it as your all-star event in smaller heats. That's another option if you're not gonna if you're gonna have it just be a one-off. Don't make it a point scoring race. Make it your all-star event rather than doing Texas?
Is it
that's
Texas
the all-star?
This year?
I don't remember. That's what it was a little while ago. I don't remember if that's actually what it is now. Where is it here?
This year it's why did we lose? Where's the All-Star race this year, Steven?
I don't remember. Clearly.
North Wilkesboro.
Okay, yeah.
Right? You're going back.
Yeah.
But why not also why not replace Martinsville with North Wilkesboro?
Yep.
Martinsville, sorry. Dirt Bristol.
Yep.
Replace this race with maybe your old classic tracks.
Yep.
Maybe that could be a better option.
Yeah.
Yeah. Find something that will appeal to both. You want to appeal to the classic, the fans who've stuck around for a really long time. And then try and appeal to a new audience by making it cool. Draw the people in.
Yeah.
You have to try and pull from as as much of your fan base as possible when you want to market something that's once in a blue moon or twice a year on the calendar, right?
So here's the thing. I wonder, because again, I do think there is a place you can make this track work and this configuration, like the Dirt Bristol. There is a way you can do this. I will fully believe that. But given how this event goes, and maybe given the All-Star event at North Wilkesboro, maybe you're going to look at this and NASCAR goes, well, this is successful, this isn't. Maybe it's all a test for deciding where to go with it all in the future.
Yeah.
Because like,
Maybe.
I wouldn't be opposed for ditching the spring Bristol race and putting North Wilkesboro on there. I wouldn't. It'd be fun.
Yep. You could do that. It's in North
And-
Carolina, so it's not like it's weather dependent.
Yeah, exactly. It's still south. It's, not bad. The issue actually has been in Bristol because it's been worse weather, actually.
Yeah. Yeah,
the last
that's
few
well,
years.
and because I was listening to the teardown, and they were going over like, do you keep it? Do you not? Well, Bristol was down in attendance. Okay, but if it's raining, no shit, it's going to be down in attendance. It's sort of like, yeah, views are down the last couple of years over for everything, but it's because people are cutting cable. Like, no shit, we were
Yep.
going to come into this conclusion anyways. And I like Bristol. It's on my bucket list of tracks to go to.
Not in spring.
That would just be not in the spring, clearly, but it would be. I think it would be a fun one to go to. My dad wants to really go, and I'd love to go down on a trip with him. Like, this is a fun track. It's not like you're wiping this track off of the face of the NASCAR calendar.
Mhm.
But like, yeah, I think the other thing is, I don't think the whole dirt thing is still the biggest issue facing NASCAR. I think there's other issues like, cautions or stage cautions anyways.
Yeah.
Like, that's still the biggest problem I'd like to tackle. So, but again, this is something that needs to be addressed if you're going to keep it, lean into it, market it, maybe add another,
But like,
or
even on the stage
make it a one-off.
issue, stages work for this race. Because it basically becomes mini heats,
yeah,
right?
I guess. Like, I don't know.
And I like how the stages are like not competitions, right? Like, they're not fighting off
Wait.
pit road and stuff, right?
No, because, well, it's the split pit road, right?
Yeah. So you just go in,
So-
you get your shit, and get back out.
Yep.
Though, do I love watching the split pit road in general on Bristol? Yes, 100%.
Yes. Yeah, that's what makes it fun.
Yeah.
There actually is a battle to get back around, and
Yeah.
you're rushing in and rushing out for a reason.
Yeah.
Well, not that there isn't a reason on like Talladega or whatever, but
It's a fun
the-
classic track in that way. Like, it's
Yeah.
unorthodox in itself, just based on the nature of Bristol.
Yeah.
For
So-
like the other small tracks, like you have Martinsville and you have like Dover, who have traditional pit lanes that just go around the whole thing. Less fun
Yep.
than just dive in, get out.
Yep.
But yeah. I don't
So-
know.
it's a complicated. I think where you land on this is it's a complicated issue because the other thing is, like, as NASCAR, do you diversify the hell out of your tracks, or do you stick with, we have our shorts, our intermediates, our super speedways, and our road courses that keep us from being purely oval?
I
does
really
add
do
it.
think NASCAR is in the kind of find out part of things right now.
Yeah.
Like, they are definitely experimenting. They see the numbers. They know NASCAR has been trending down in the last few years, which, as a series, great for recognizing that. Now, how do you fix it? And I think NASCAR is definitely trying to do some experimentation, find out what works, what doesn't. Road courses, you know what? That's, I think, proven to be pretty successful over the years. Been entertaining and gives unpredictable racing.
Well, and it draws in other fans, right? Like,
It
especially
does.
now that you can get the buy-in from your Kimi Räikkönens, your Jensen Buttons, whoever else may be in the future.
But road course events are more events. Like, it's not like you show up to a race. Like, there's a lot more going on in and around the track, and you can go to different places in the track and still be entertained, especially over like multiple track sessions a day, right? Like, you can be there for one race and maybe their support series. I assume NASCAR has support series with them who are running on those tracks. Like, Taylor, you're at the track pretty often when it's like anything's happening. When stuff's on track, it's fun.
Oh yeah.
But when you show
yeah.
up for like a NASCAR oval race, it's like, okay, I'm here. 7 o'clock, we're going to start this. Cool. I'm not going to get home till 1 in the morning. I live 15 minutes down the road. Yep.
Yeah.
So NASCAR has a lot of experiments to do. What would you like to see as like for like NASCAR's schedule? How would you like to see it going forward?
For the schedule?
Or like their setup? Like, what do you want to see more of? What do you want to see less of? Don't everyone answer at once now.
Honestly, I'm okay getting rid of the dirt and just focusing on your I think if you have an even split of road, super speedway, short and intermediate, I think you can market the hell out of that as well. That they race, and you really gotta do a good job of explaining how each discipline is different. And I think if you take away the stage cautions, that helps you with that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay. So I'll take the other way of keeping Bristol. I think NASCAR does a good job with their schedule, but I think if you're gonna do Bristol, make it real big. Do it as like some crazy, like weird event, but like make it an event. Draw people in. It's kind of so like think about it this way, like like Formula 1, right? That's a whole weekend that you're like in the environment. I think NASCAR needs to somewhat take a page out of that. I'm not saying do a whole like NASCAR weekend, but like make the event bigger and better than ever and put like some sort of, I don't know, show or whatever into it. Just draw people in. Why not? Market the heck out of it. Do something crazy. At least people are going to be exposed to the product and maybe they'll stick around for the rest of it. It doesn't have to be it doesn't just have to be a dirt race and like call it that and like, yay, we're going back to dirt. But just make it something really like stupid. I'd fall for it. To be honest, I'd fall for it. Like, I'd totally be like, yeah, NASCAR, whatever, Bristol Dirt Race, that's awesome. Cool. Or have it somewhere else.
I had a great idea as you were saying that. I'm like, market the hell out of something, but not the Bristol. I say keep Bristol, keep it as it is. You know why? And like for the schedule for NASCAR, keep experimenting with different tracks. Get more things that are different and unique on there. Because the thing that pissed everyone off in the early 2000s when it came to NASCAR was what? What kind of tracks did everyone think they drove on?
Shorts.
Cookie cutters. They called them cookie cutters because they all were the same and it felt the same every single week.
Mm-hmm.
Give me one track so far this season that has been a cookie cutter.
What we had?
You had Daytona, California, Vegas, Phoenix, Atlanta, Coda, Richmond, and Bristol.
Yeah. Well, again,
closest you want to have was Vegas and Atlanta.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But because the reprofiling of Atlanta, it now is totally different. It races totally different than Vegas does.
Yeah.
So I would love to see them experiment and keep doing weird things, but lean into the weird. Be like, hey, we do have different tracks. We are not the same generic racing series, but we can also be like you remembered of the early 2000s, but we're not on cookie cutters every week. Let's try to get that momentum back.
Yep. Yeah, just having some variety. Like, that's why I think you could keep the calendar the same, get rid of stage cautions, and it gets rid of the very, like we've talked about multiple times, it's the same strategy throughout. It's stop for your competition caution, stop at stage 1, stop at stage 2, 1 green flag stop for stage 3, and race is over. Usually in overtime.
The best thing in any sport for growth is less questions.
Exactly.
Make people not question what they are seeing. If you're watching NASCAR and it's like, okay, I get it. They throw a yellow if something has happened on the track. Wait, why is there yellow now? Right? I get it. They have to make pit stops. Well, why are they pitting now? Oh, it's a strategy? Okay, I can get that. Like, what's the fastest growing sport in North America?
What is the fastest growing sport?
Basketball.
Yeah.
Is it really?
For like the last 20 years, basketball has been
Yeah.
the best
Wow.
best sport
Since
best sport for growth.
Since the late
for them.
90s, yeah. There's that divorce of it was either NHL or NBA.
Yeah, the NHL decided to go straight down, and NBA shut up.
Take a nosedive. Thanks, Gary.
Yeah, but if you watch basketball, how often do you question the actual game itself?
As a Raptors fan,
okay.
sometimes.
Besides that, but like, oh, they get it, they shoot it, they get 2 points. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there was a foul.
Yeah.
I'll figure out what a foul is eventually, but they get 1 point. As like, the easier it is for your audience not to question it, the easier it is for your sport to grow.
Yeah, no, 100%.
If it's
I
cars
agree with
going
that.
around on different tracks, no matter what the heck it is, fine. And NASCAR in itself has something very unique that other sports don't, and that is identity. And what I mean by that is the car itself in NASCAR is your identity. Like, you know a NASCAR when you see it.
100%.
Exactly. Versus, how many times, Steven, watching either F1 or IndyCar, does someone question, or watching IndyCar, hey, is this F1?
Yeah.
Okay, no, this is an American series. It's called IndyCar. Like, it happens all the time. Because open wheel cars, or even like you're watching,
Right.
not F1. If anyone sees any car that's open wheeled, it's an F1 car for the general population of the world.
Yeah, that's what they think.
Yeah.
100%. I totally follow you on that.
I remember there was a photo of I remember it was on Reddit, but it was 2 Indy Lights cars at the time. I think in the 2012 or 2013 Houston IndyCar race. And the photos are like 1 second apart, and the car is in the exact same spot. But the guy in the background has walked like basically like a foot. He's moved a foot in the background. But this is where I'm going with this. They were like, oh, look at these F1 cars a second apart. And someone's like, well, they're not even F1 cars. They're not even like close. But, you know, because they have wings and open wheels, people call them F1 cars because they just don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, like NASCAR needs to use the identity of its cars on tracks, make it simple, people watch. Keep it simple, stupid. But I don't know. Who am I to say anything, really? At the end of the day, I'm just some guy yelling at a screen with his 2 friends.
Exactly.
What else? Though I had a fun idea.
Wow.
Here's a fun
What's
NASCAR
that?
idea they should put on. Okay?
Shoot.
NASCAR needs to pick a random road course and make it a massive prize money race. It's an invitational, and you can invite people from all over the world to take part.
Okay. Why not?
I'm basing this literally off of the golf this weekend. Have like a NASCAR Masters.
A NASCAR Masters. Oh. And
Almost
what,
like
anybody who's ever won a NASCAR Cup can come and race if they're still living?
Almost like a race of champions, would you say?
Okay, but the Race of Champions doesn't market itself well, and it's inconsistent as fuck. And recently, because they've been doing the damn ice Race of Champions thing, it's all rally guys that win anyway.
Yeah.
No, the rally guys are cool though.
Wasn't it the esports kid that like made it through 2 or 3 rounds?
There was an esports kid who made it through a couple, but yeah, he's not going all the way. I loved Race of Champions when it was in stadiums, like baseball stadiums in states. That was fun.
Hey NASCAR, there's another free idea.
Oh,
Just pay.
they've already
pay
done
us.
that. They've already done races in stadiums.
I know, but now you
That's
can
fair.
do your race of champions idea,
That's
but
fair.
with NASCAR.
Here's the thing. We have so many good ideas on this podcast. I think somebody needs to like wake up and realize.
I mean, good ideas is only good ideas in our mind, so like, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever. You know what? I think they're genius, so just saying.
That's fair. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Any racing series looking for some good ideas. All trademarked. Spare Parts Racing.
So, Steven, did we want to, you know, go over the fantasy teams we have so far?
Yeah, someone was very confident about their fantasy team.
Yeah,
So
Taylor
yes.
really wanted to go over this.
Since
I
it-
personally don't.
since it was brought up.
Okay,
w-
I was
we're going-
confident until you guys like.
You guys,
We're
do not
very
drag me into this.
excited.
Do not drag me
Okay,
into
well,
this.
somebody, Steven, was too excited about it, so now I'm a little worried.
How do you know it's not a false flag operation?
Because you get way too excited about things when you know you're like, you got some bragging rights behind it.
Okay, what are we doing first? Do we want to do? Well, I mean,
Listen, I know where I
Mm.
stand, so we don't have to really go through this, but just
do you want
I
to do
know- I
F1,
don't-
NASCAR, IndyCar?
I don't care about the
Pick
F1
one.
one because I know I'm trash in that one. That one is like,
Somebody pick
I've
one.
given up hope. Okay, why don't we
Somebody pick
start with
one.
F1, get that disappointment out of the way, because I know that Steven's like, what, in first or second?
I'm in first. Shocker.
Yay.
And you two are
Mm,
not in the top 10.
wow.
You're
good
11th
for
and 12th. Good
you.
job, Sean.
Congratulations. Yay.
though I also okay. I'll pin that for a second. Go through it. I want to talk some F1 in a second.
You want to go through the
No,
entire thing?
No, no.
Okay.
Something
Let's do
F1
IndyCar.
related,
Okay.
but just go ahead.
I was gonna say because the problem with the F1 fantasy this year, I have no idea who some of these people are because it doesn't show you who the name, like
I
the
know.
actual names.
Well, that's
So
a good
unless it's
point.
like Sean's family friend, where it's Team Riley, I wonder who that could be. That's
Yeah,
actually Sean's team
that's-
in disguise.
I know who some of them are. I don't know who all of them are.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we'll go through.
continue.
We'll go through at some point for summer break or something.
Mm-hmm.
IndyCar. Taylor, you are in first. After two
I
races,
still get bragging rights. Woo-hoo-hoo.
No. You are in first by 3 points.
Ooh,
Oh, that's close.
ouch.
What,
Yep.
to you? Are you second?
I'm second. Behind by
Frig,
3
what's
points.
wrong with you? Get out.
Grosjean and VK are your anchors there.
Yeah,
I
my
had
anchors.
Wow.
I had Rossi and Power really struggle last race, which brought my team down. You do have the better two drivers in Award and Ericsson,
Oh, yes.
which is a nice touch.
Who's my team again?
A little spice.
So Sean, you're not completely out of it. You're only 38 points back.
Ooh. I know I got
That's
my
not-
Glock.
You're only 38
That's not
points.
no, but that's like
not
with
horrible, though.
it's not like it's F1 scoring where it's like 25 down to 1. Like you get
Yeah,
points
it's
every
also
time.
like
You two are neck
it's
and neck.
also April.
Yeah.
It
And
was
we've
only
had
2
2
races.
races.
Yeah, there's only been 2, so we're fine.
Yes. And because Taylor's had the second place finisher both times, it's not really a shock. Anyways, Sean, you've
Second
got
place. I mean the first place.
no, the awards finished second twice.
Yeah, but also Ericsson won, so
Yes.
that's helped.
Yes. Sean, you have McLaughlin, Pelot, Herta, and Lundgaard.
I still believe
Lingard
in it.
and
I
Hurt.
believe in it.
Yeah, Lundgaard and Herta are the ones dragging your team down. So now the fun one, which sort of brought up this conversation, is NASCAR. Taylor, you've been ousted. Ousted.
I can't
Whatever.
believe
No,
this.
no, keep trying, please. Keep trying
Sean-
that.
Sean is up by 10 points.
Ah. Was
Well,
it just this last race?
How did I do that?
It's this last race plus you'll remember that 2 Hendrick drivers got a 60-point penalty.
Oh my gosh.
And
so-
because
oh, what?
neither of
That
us had-
contributed?
Yep, that
But
counts.
yeah, that counts.
Damn,
was counting for the
cheating
hun-
Hendrick cars.
Yep,
That's twice
we were-
this year
we were-
already.
Wow.
Yep, we were all out 100 points at one point because Josh Berry was also penalized. I was excited because I thought he was going to get away with it. I was going to get a free 100 points, but no. But yeah, so Sean, all your guys are above 200 points. You've got
Beautiful.
Larson, Blaney, Reddick, and Bush. Actually, and shocking surprise here, Blaney is the only one I think that hasn't won a race out of your lineup. Shocker.
I'm looking at that right now. Yeah. Oh god.
Yep. Taylor, you've got the highest scorer with Ross Chastain and Chris Bell, who are the top 2 points leaders. You have Byron with his 60-point penalty, and Suarez has sort of dropped off the last couple of weeks, and he's at 170.
Unbelievable.
My team is 148 points out.
I'm just happy
Okay,
I'm winning
well-
one of them.
Okay, well, all we can say is screw you, Steven. You deserve to be last in the NASCAR fantasy.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's a little harsh, don't you think?
No,
Well, I
not at
still have
all.
I still have the crutch of if we take any of our first round picks and remove them, you guys probably aren't that high up either. So you know what?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Anywho, so we're all leading one, and I think that's good for now.
That's fair.
So there's your fantasy wrap up.
So I was trying to find something right now to talk quickly F1 because, okay, F1 has been lackluster so far this season in terms of results, with Red Bull running away with it, right?
Yes.
Have you seen the post? I was trying to find it. I can't now. But basically comparing the standings after the first 3 races this year and the first 3 races last year.
Okay.
Leclerc had more points and a bigger gap at this point last year.
Mm-hmm.
And we know how the
You
season...
mean like...
But like we know how the
leading,
season
right?
went. Yeah, leading.
Yeah, because... Okay, so... All I'm saying is that he has DNF'd both of the races that Verstappen has DNF'd last year. Does this give us
No.
some-
Not saying it's gonna happen, but
saying it could happen, but like, does Leclerc just have like an absolutely fantastic year, and Ferrari brings like the best of the best updates to their car and just wins the development race for the rest of the season, and you never know what's gonna happen?
No.
Okay.
So, my point of bringing this up is I think, because I know some fans have already been kind of maybe getting a little jaded in this season, especially with the large gaps between races. Like 3 weeks before Australia, now 3 weeks till Baku. I get it. You know, it's long and annoying, and when you wait that time just to watch Verstappen win, it's frustrating. Or just watch Red Bull win, I guess. So, I believe there is still hope for this season.
okay. Explain.
Okay.
Well, I believe, and I think we saw it in Australia. You know, Mercedes have found some speed compared to the first 2 races. We know Aston Martin has a big development boost compared to the other guys. And Ferrari's just Ferrari. So, will you...
Rude.
Exactly. Will you actually see maybe a different result in the championship than we have now? No, probably not. Likely in all circumstances, Max wins. That's fine. But if he... Well, he's going to win probably. But I'm going to guess you're going to have more race winners than just those 2 this year.
Yeah.
I would
agree
guess
with that.
maybe more race winners than you had last season.
Well, Aston Martin's joined the mix, so...
How many race winners did you have last season?
Leclerc won 1, Perez, Verstappen won a bunch, Russell won 1.
4.
So that's 4.
You had 4.
Yeah.
That's it? We had 4?
Yeah.
Verstappen
Sainz didn't win.
Nope, Sainz.
Gosh.
Oh no, Sainz did win. So yeah, sorry, 5.
Okay, so 5.
Oh,
I
he
thought
did.
Sainz won.
Yeah, I forgot about the British Grand Prix. So I'm gonna guess you could see 6 this year.
I see more than that, though. Like, just
He's
based on
he's just trying to push Aston Martin.
But no,
Of course he is.
I think because the top of the field, especially between Aston Martin, Ferrari, and Mercedes, those 3 are tight, and they are going to be gunning for Red Bull.
Oh, 100%. I mean, we also have to think about the fact that we are heading into the 4th race of the season, and the development race is starting, right? So
Yes.
are we going... So we have to remember that Red Bull did lose time in the wind tunnel. Are
Just
we
for-
going to...
Well, like they lost time, and then they lost more time.
Exactly. So are we going to start seeing that? Like, maybe the second half of the season is when we start to see that the impact of that penalty, But we have to consider that that is probably coming. I think their struggles are coming. We just haven't seen them yet. Because cars came out, they still were a little bit behind where Red Bull was at, even last season, right? Like at the end of last season, so far ahead. So I think that I would agree with you, Sean. Like, I honestly do think that we are going to see a lot more race winners, especially when we have races like Monza, which tend to have kind of crazy outcomes.
Yep.
You know, a Monaco could have a different outcome. We have so many races left on the calendar that
Baku could be crazy.
yeah, Baku could be an interesting one.
I doubt that. I honestly think Red Bull are going to dominate Baku just because straight line speed.
Yeah.
Yes. The only thing, and the FIA showed this in Australia, is their lack of restraint throwing red flags these days.
That is true.
Which can
That is true.
Oh, yes,
which can really mix up a grid.
So we will see. I honestly, though, I think that we are in for one of the better seasons that we've seen in the past few years.
I agree.
Where it's not a runaway show.
Now that you've said that, Max will win the remaining races, and it's going to be boring as hell.
I don't think so.
But no one wins.
We're not
them all.
always a curse on this podcast.
No, it's
Exactly.
Sean. But Sean also said the same thing, so I blame him.
Fuck you.
So.
Okay, anything else to finish off on?
Do we want to talk about the
Cody Ware?
15-year? Oh no, that's
Oh,
I wasn't gonna touch that.
The
one.
what?
I don't want to touch it either. No, we're not touching that one.
The what?
Cody Ware.
Hold on.
Don't worry.
Cody
about
Ware
it.
was an
Don't worry
asshole
about
and hit women.
Didn't actually hear about that, but okay, cool.
it. You know what? NASCAR. Not quick. Since you brought it up, quick
bad.
thing. NASCAR suspended him indefinitely until it's all sorted out. It's still relatively new. I think that only got announced today, right?
Okay.
Or yesterday.
I didn't know he was suspended.
him.
Yeah.
NASCAR
Cool.
suspended him indefinitely.
Yeah,
so,
basically it came
right
out
move.
this weekend he wasn't racing and he got replaced by, I can't remember who replaced him. And then it came out Sunday night that he had actually been arrested. Yeah. For,
Okay, well.
I think some kind of domestic abuse. So yeah, you
Oh,
know,
good.
yeah.
OP.
Felony
That's
assault.
what's coming to him.
Felony assault. Good job.
Yep.
Actually, no.
But yeah,
not good job. Fuck you, Cody.
Yeah, NASCAR did suspend him following his
Yeah,
arrest. So
as they fucking should.
right call. Yes. Easy win. Good job. You didn't fumble it. No, what I was going to talk about also involves a court system,
Whoops.
but it's the 15-year-old case of Crashgate.
Oh.
And how
Oh.
Felipe Massa is now challenging the result
Yes.
of that
I did hear about
Singapore
this.
Grand Prix, and how basically he's saying, "Oh, I would have won the world championship," that he famously lost by 1 point in 2008 to Lewis Hamilton for Lewis's first title.
Okay. So the only reason that I actually know about this is because Peter was complaining about it on whenever it came out. But he's not a Hamilton person, so of course he was like just laughing because Massa's actually saying something. But I find it very, very funny.
So, if you do not know the situation, because this is a 15-year-old case, Crashgate at the Singapore Grand Prix was Nelson Piquet Jr., then a Renault team member with Fernando Alonso, purposefully crashed to bring out a caution so that way they could get a cheap pit stop, and then Alonso could go and try and win the race. I think he did. Yeah, he did end up winning that race, right? This is old. I was like, how old was I? I was like 12 at the time. So
Taylor, you sending me the message on Facebook came through in the audio. Damn it.
What?
good job.
That's okay.
Huh.
Go ahead.
It's just interrupting me. So
I know. It's
whatever.
only Steven.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, why is my
Anywho.
Facebook making sound? Oh, shit. I was at it.
Anywho. So what ended up happening is Massa ended up finishing 13th. Hamilton finished 6th, I think, and got the basically the point. That's the point differential, right?
Yeah.
The thing here is, Massa also took a penalty because he tried to leave the pit lane with his fuel hose.
What?
Because this is back in the old days when we had to refuel the cars and they couldn't make it the whole race distance. He had left it with and had to serve a penalty, and that's why he dropped to 13th. So I think
Oh my gosh.
That being said, you know where my thoughts on where this will go are. Any other contradictory thoughts to this?
My whole thing is, it's done. Get over it. You're not getting your championship back. On the other hand, let's say fine. This championship gets overturned. Massa, you win. Lewis, you don't win this one because the FIA made a mistake. Right? Because that's basically that's the difference that Massa wants. He wants that whole race thrown out. Because it was fixed, essentially. So, say that throw that race out because the FIA made a mistake allowing that race in there in the first place because bad calls made it happen. I don't know.
Well, it's a deliberate fixing of results, right?
Yeah,
Not that Massa would necessarily have done better, but it's the fact that someone crashed intentionally for a fixed result of the race.
True. So it's a fixed.
Wait.
So because it was a fixed result because of certain situations, Massa, you get your championship.
Okay,
Here,
but
Lewis, here's 2021.
That's exactly it, though. It's like,
It is.
okay, so
Yeah.
Lewis is still a 7-time
they-
champion no matter what.
Yeah, and okay, so here's the thing. You would have to review every single instance where a championship was won because of a fixed result.
No, not even that. I was talking to my dad about this. You will open Pandora's box to every single incident possible for every race, and you could get so many different changes done. Like
anytime
Exactly.
team orders.
Yep.
Anytime you use a team order, race fixing, you fixed a
Well,
result.
there are so many
Well-
famous instances of that, right? Like Schumacher and Damon Hill.
Yep.
That was a
I've-
massive one.
I was gonna say Schumacher in Monaco when he crashed in qualifying.
That's just a Ferrari thing.
Like there's, yeah, exactly.
Okay, get out. Stop. Whatever.
But yeah, you truly do open Pandora's box with this, because then every single racing driver that is still alive is going to come out and say, well, here's a thought on this race where I should have won,
Yep.
or I could have won but we didn't. So now and by the end of it, you're going to get to like, yeah, there was one legitimate race each season. The guy that won that race is now the world champion.
Yeah. Basically.
It makes me laugh, and I get, maybe the fact that he's still miffed about it 15 years later. You're not racing anymore. Get over it at some point.
Honestly, get over it. You lost.
Yeah, just get over it.
Yeah, I think he can be pissed still. That's fine. It was your best shot at being a world champion, but at the same time, that's not the thing that caused you to lose the race or not get any points. It's the fact that you fucked up your pit stop. You still fucked up. It's still your own fault.
Yep.
So, though, part of me would be exactly like Peter and just die laughing, because then, especially if they overturn this, but then through some backward, say they review Silverstone 2021 and they say, oh yeah, that was Lewis's fault. We're gonna strip that race, and Max still ends up winning 2021, and then it's, oh, that would be funny. That would be so funny for all the people that have just absolutely beaten the dead horse of Max being fixed to win the world championship.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It honestly is. Like, you have to let it die. Like, honestly, just let it die. Stop bringing up stuff from the past. The past is the past. Move on. Get over it.
The FAA is a very vicious ex-girlfriend, I feel like.
I
At this
swear
point.
they are the worst.
Maybe a little abusive.
I mean,
here and
they're
there.
insanely inconsistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
So anyway, I feel like that's all we have for this week. I feel like we should have that high.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
Because I know Steven's got baseball to watch. He's itching to go to that.
I'm also
I've
going to
been-
get too drunk to speak, so.
Even better. Anyway, so thank you very much for listening to this episode. We'll be back next week with hopefully some more news to talk about, and we can see where the whole Massa Hamilton thing goes. So, thank you and goodbye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Spare Parts Racing Podcast. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and follow the show on Twitter at Spare Parts Racing. That's Spare Parts RACIN, and on TikTok at Spare Parts Pod. Follow the hosts at Sean Chavarella, at Stephen Clary, and at Tay Moore.